Hey guys, we have game-wide maintenance announced for tomorrow, and it's actually going to be an update to version 5.0.0. So we have game-wide maintenance. The entire game is going to be offline for about 10 hours, as you can see on the screen. That's the time. You can convert it to your own time zone. And the reasoning behind why we have game-wide maintenance, other than the fact that we're obviously just getting an apt update, is because I believe with tomorrow's maintenance, we should be getting the implementation of the Rating Match Proud PvP system. If you guys are not familiar with the Rating Match Proud system, they talked about this during the last reveal and stuff, where they showed off Super Vegeta. So I'm going to just quickly jump over to Chrome because I want to quickly discuss briefly what the system is, and then I want to go over some of the better teams I think we can see for this system here. So Rating Match Proud procedure, we have like a little bit of a flow chart here, how the proceedings are supposed to go for the mode here. So we have 3 rounds. We have rounds 1, 2, and 3. Round 1 is just a normal fight. So you're going to queue up into Rating Match Proud, and then your opponent are going to play a match. You and your opponent are going to play a match, and there's no restrictions to this match at all. And whoever loses that match number 1, as you can see, the loser either accepts, which means you continue into round 2, or the loser can choose to just drop out and not move on to round 2, in which instance the person who won the match is going to win the series. Round 2. So if the loser decides they want to move on to round 2, what's going to happen now is each player is going to use the same party of 6 characters, except they cannot use the same characters that they selected during round 1 in round 2. So this means that you can't just load up on like HP benches, on Zenkai benches. You actually have to build a comprehensive team where you know that you're going to be using all 6 of your characters, or at least, going into the Rating Match Proud best of 3, knowing that you're going to have to use all 6 characters, or presumably you're going to be using all 6 characters. So again, you play the first match. The second match uses the characters that you did not make use of in the first match. And then after the second match is over, if the person who lost the first match wins the second match, so it's basically 1-1, then you're going to move on to the Battle of Pride, which is round 3. And in order to move on to the third match, both player 1 and player 2 need to accept. If either player 1 or player 2 decide to not continue to the round of 3, or the third round of 3, the third round, it ends right there. And I guess it just turns into a draw at that point. So Battle of Pride, what is the Battle of Pride? Basically, it is another match. The stipulation of the Battle of Pride is that you have your 3 characters you used in round 1 and the 3 characters you used in round 2. You need to select 1 character that you used in round 1 and 1 character that you used in round 2, and then the third character can be whoever you want. So the goal behind this system, and the reason why the system is even being implemented in the first place, is because they want to promote you not just, again, the main way to team build in this game, and the way it's been for years at this point, is they want you to, I guess in regular PvP, they want you to just mainly focus on 3 characters and then 3 bench characters. You're never going to bring those bench characters into the fight. All they are there for is to simply buff those 3 characters you're going to be bringing into every single fight. So that's why Zenkais are so important. That's why HP benches are so important. It helps just juice up the 3 characters you're going to be bringing every time. With this system, you can't do that, because if you do that and you put on a bunch of like old Zenkai characters like Namek Goku and Super Saiyan 3 Goku right into the system, you're going to have to use them in PvP, which is not going to end up well because they're not that good. Right? So in this system, you're going to want to utilize all 6 of your characters, and so I guess what that incentivizes is changing up the way teams are built. You're not necessarily always going to have an HP buffer on your team. You're not always necessarily going to have the best Zenkai buffers on your team. So this is, again, a bit of a change up, and I think based off of what they were saying in the reveal and stuff, it sounds like this is actually going to be replacing ranked PvP, traditional ranked PvP, for the entire season. But obviously it's not going to be replacing it permanently. So this will be, a season of Rating Match Proud, and then the season after this will be going back to normal ranked PvP. And I guess, every once in a while they'll bring this mode back. But It definitely sounds interesting. I am a little bit skeptical as to how well it's going to be received. I think this is something that's gonna be exciting for like the first 2 days, and then after like the first 2, 3, 4 days, people are going to get very tired of it. And the biggest issue I have with the mode, just before we even jump into talking about the teams, is I don't like the fact that it's replacing regular PvP. I think what they should have done is they should have had 2 ladders running in parallel. One that is just normal ranked PvP, traditional PvP that we know, and then they'd have a separate ladder, a separate queue for this rating match proud system. And then they'd have, ranked, I guess just rankings based on both of those buckets essentially. But that's not what they're doing, I don't think. So we'll have to wait and see how this is received. But anyway, again, the goal of this video is to go through a bunch of different teams that I think are going to be at least somewhat viable. And then I'm going to save the team that I think is going to be dominating this for the last team we're going to go over. But let's just go ahead and jump in. I have a bunch of them pre-built here. I did not add equipment, but you guys can put whatever equipment you want on these. So the first one's going to be Universe Reps. I don't particularly think that like a full raw Universe Reps team, like this, it's going to be strange getting used to this, because like this is not a team composition you would ever want to build normally. We basically have no Zenkai buffer, we have no HP buffer. Like this is not a very comprehensive build. But the thing that Universe Reps does have that a lot of other teams don't have access to, a lot of other tags don't have access to, is they have a lot of characters that are good. Just individual characters. And I think what we're going to start seeing, at least with this rating match proud system, is that as long as you can slap on like 6 good characters onto a team, the team doesn't necessarily need to have the greatest synergy of all time. As long as you have 6 good characters, you're probably going to have a fighting chance, right? Something else to mention as well is every time that we've queued up into PvP, you basically know what your opponent is bringing into the fight. With Rating Match Proud, they're basically adding a whole new dimension to playing PvP, and that is going to be actually predicting and reading who your opponent is going to bring into that first fight, right? Because again, you have to select 3 characters to bring into the first fight, but up until now, you kind of knew who that was going to be. Most people don't even put equipment on their bench characters. But now it's like, you run into this Universe Reps team, like your opponent is running this team. Like, you don't know who they're bringing. So you have to think about and strategize based off of the opponent's team composition. Here's what I want to bring into the first match, knowing that you're going to have to bring the remaining 3 battle members that you have on your team into the second match. So I think there's a lot of strategy that's going to go on with this mode as well. It's not just going to be like, okay, yeah, let me just pick the first 3 characters on my team and then that's it, right? So that's going to be a factor as well. But in terms of this actual team composition, Universe Reps here, Ultra UI Goku, not much of an explanation is needed for him. I think Ultra UI Goku is going to work pretty well with Jiren, and the reason why is because it kind of is a baby version of Goku and Bardock, where you can use UI to generate the green cards, and then you can give the AoE green cards to Jiren. Again, it's not even remotely close to the same as Goku and Bardock, but Jiren at least can sort of cheese the opponent out with that combo. We have 17, who's still very good. We have Blue Kaioken Goku, Evolution Blue Vegeta, who can go on a tirade if you get them in a nice position. Yellow Golden Freeze is obviously good. I think he probably has, one of the more valuable techniques or mechanics in this mode, which is his Disrupt at half HP. Again, when you're not running teams that have HP buffers, and you're not running teams that have tons of Zenkai buffers, I think you're going to notice a pretty big difference when it comes to how much damage you're doing, right? Opponents are going to take a lot of damage in this mode, more than you're used to. So to have abilities like this Golden Frieza has with the Disrupt at half HP, the card destruction, like those are going to be even, I would argue, more valuable than they are just in normal ranked PvP. And then of course Goku and Frieza. Rising Rush Deterrent is going to be pretty strong in this mode as well, so they're always a good option here. But I think we have like 6 pretty solid options on this Universe Reps team, so I think this team could definitely be a viable option if you have the characters available. Next, we're going to talk about movies. So we have a pretty decent lineup here. Now I will say, when it comes down to a lot of these team compositions, it's really tough to find like 6 really good characters. Like every team is not going to have like 6 amazing characters. And when it comes to a lot of the teams in the game, in fact, like almost every single tag in the game, I think the best way to judge how well the team is going to work in Raiding Match Proud is taking a look at how good is their 6th best character. All right, so if we go back to Universe Reps here, like who would I consider to be like the 6th best character on here? It would probably be Golden Frieza. Is Golden Frieza the worst character on this list here? It might be. He might be. Him or Goku and Frieza, I would say, are the 6th worst character. I mean, is Goku and Frieza really worse than Gold? I don't know. It's as I say, I would actually say it's relatively close, but they're not too bad. They can at least do stuff. Movies, again, we have so the thing about movies actually is the fact that we have 2 revival characters, so we can kind of split the roles on this team. So like I don't know if I would ever want to bring like Janemba and Beast in the same match, because they're both going to be the character that's going to be carrying the match for you, right? Beast Gohan obviously is the one who basically puts the team on his back whenever he's brought. And then Janemba kind of fulfills the same role. Janemba's the offensive character. He has a pretty damn good unique gauge. Doesn't really take hits super well, but at least you can use that unique gauge as a deterrent, to interrupt combo with the ultimate. The Gammas was like the one character I wasn't really too sure about, and I could open the list here, character list, and we can go to the movies saga here. Like, you have some fringe options. Like, I could have brought like Path to Power Kid Goku. I didn't really know if I felt like doing that right now. I mean, you run into UI Goku, who I think you're going to run into a lot in this mode, and it's going to be very rough running him. I considered to bring Blue Gogeta, but the problem with Blue Gogeta is with an Ultra, you want him to be in the leader slot to get the full Ultra ability, but it's like then I can't get Janemba's full Ultra ability, so you can only have one character in the leader slot at the same time. So, I mean, there's really not like a ton of options here. I was also considering bringing potentially the Fat Gotenks, the Failed Fusion Gotenks. He's pretty solid. I think a lot of people kind of underrate him. He's pretty tanky. But like, there's really not a ton of options here. Potential Zenkai characters you could bring, like this Red Janemba, I think. One upside to bringing the Red Janemba is he's going to be Zenkai buffing both the Pan and Beast Gohan. So that could be an option as well. But I opted to go for the Gammas. I felt like they were the most well-rounded character here. Unfortunately, there's a lot of good Reds in the game right now, so I'm not entirely sure how well they do. But they're still a pretty solid character. They support, and overall, they have a lot of like one-man army style mechanics. So I think this movie's build can work. I do, especially for a mode like this, where I think revivals can be pretty impactful. So next we have GT. I definitely think this is going to be one of the more prominent teams that you see in this mode. I will say as well that I think pretty much any team that you can slide Super 17 on is going to be performing very well, because let's just say that he's kind of good. Super 17 is kind of a good character. So clearly the top 3 characters are the best on this team. I would consider Bulla to be pretty good, but she's not, she's a support character. She doesn't really take hits very well. She does have the one time, I kind of call it the one time disrupt, but it's technically twice, but it's less potent the second time, right? The key reduction. I would actually probably say I think Bulla is a better 1% sparking character than Pan is. Pan is not bad. Pan has access to easy cover nullification. And then Red Omega Shenron, by the way. Pretty good Zenkai, because I think what they probably did is they probably gave us the last few Zenkai characters knowing that we would be getting this mode, right? And so they've kind of made these Zenkai characters not only good benches, but also really nice to bring into, like, I think Omega is actually a pretty damn good character. He's a solid option, even for this mode. So the fact that he's also Zenkai buffing Super 17, I mean, that's not insignificant. But clearly when it comes to this GT setup, you don't want to just bring the top 3 characters, because otherwise you're just like, again, I don't think like Bulla is not a bad character, Pan is not a bad character, and I do kind of like Omega a lot. I actually think Omega is better than both those characters. But like, you're not going to be looking too good if you bring the bottom 3. So I think what you want to do is probably mix and match the team a little bit. Like, maybe bring Super 17 and then 2 of the bottom 3. And then for the second match, you leave the GT Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta for that second one. So you kind of split the power up into two into two separate teams a little bit. And that way as well, you can set yourself up for a good third match where you have to choose one character from the first one character from the second one, and then the third one can be whoever it is. And if you do that strategy that I talked about, where maybe you bring Super 17 for the first one, then you bring GT Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta for the second one. For the third match, if you end up getting to the third match, you can bring the top three. You can bring them all together. So, and also, of course, it's going to depend on, like I said, the opponent's team as well. So, again, there's going to be a lot of like actual strategizing going on here and thinking about what to do. So I kind of do like that, but I think GT should be pretty solid actually for this mode. I will also mention, I think Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is actually going to be even more valuable than he was in normal rating match for this rating match proud system. And the reason why is because not only is he a very good character by himself, but he's actually Zenkai buffing characters too. Like he's not doing nothing. And well, when I say Zenkai buffing characters, he's Zenkai buffing himself. That is actually important to note. He's Zenkai buffing himself, and he's Zenkai buffing another character that we'll talk about in a second after this. So next we have androids. This is actually a really good part to, I guess, mention that it's pretty important that we got 16 on here, because that 6th slot, like if we imagine we didn't get 16, right? And so we have the same composition, but it's just not without, like, who's going in that slot? Let's take a look at the android tag here. Like Magenta, is Magenta going in there? I guess Red Cell, is Red transforming Cell going in there? I don't like. You don't really have fantastic Android 8. I don't think so. That last slot would have been a little bit tough to fill, I think, but 16 definitely is a very good addition to androids. Even though he is a strike-based character, I think he does fit pretty well on here. I did also opt to include Yellow Perfect Cell on the team as well, because he does Zenkai buff the Gammas, and I think if you're going to be running the Gammas, it really helps right now for Yellow characters to have a Zenkai buffer. But obviously, again, essentially any team that you have with Super 17 is going to perform well, and there's not really like a weak character on here. Even Yellow Zenkai Cell is like one of the better Zenkai still. So I think this team should perform pretty well. Next, we have Fusions. Now, I actually think Fusions is going to be a really, really good team. Again, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, not only is he Zenkai buffing himself on this team, he is Zenkai buffing Pikkon, and that's going to be a major, major thing. I think the interaction between Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta Zenkai buffing Pikkon, like, that might be the most important bench setup in this mode. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta Zenkai buffing Pikkon. So this is a pure Fusion Warrior team. I guess you could sort of also throw on some Saiyan characters on here if you wanted to, but I wanted to get the most out of the Ultra Blue Fusion's Ultra abilities as well. And again, don't forget, this is yet another team where you can make use of Super 17. I was also even considering throwing Red Omega on the team over the failed Fusion Gotenks, and actually I think that probably might be better, Red Omega, because even if you do that, in fact, let's go ahead and do that. Let's throw Red Omega on the team over Gotenks, so we can get a Zenkai buff for Super 17. And the good thing about this as well is Omega is considered to be a Fusion Warrior, which means that we're not going to be losing out on any of the Ultra ability for the Blue Fusions. Yeah, that is an on-the-spot change I kind of just noticed right now. I think Red Omega is going to fit pretty well on this team. The only problem with Red Omega is he's not going to be Z ability buffing anybody else on the team here, which I guess it's something to mention, but I don't really know if I care. I think I'd rather just take the Zenkai ability for Super 17. That's how insane Super 17 is. I would rather take the Zenkai ability for him than the Z ability for the entire rest of the team. That's how insane. Like you start, like I could see fights in this mode being decided by Super 17 getting a combo started. One combo from Super 17 could decide the outcome of a lot of these fights in this mode. So to have him backed up by a Zenkai ability with this Omega Shin, I think is actually probably what you want to do, even more so than just giving the rest of the team a Z ability. But yeah, that's what we have here. There's a lot of really powerful Fusion Warrior bench characters. Like obviously Purple Super Vegeta was an insane bench character, but Like you can't bring him. You can't. He's too old at this point. He's such a good bench, but you can't seriously run purple Super Vegito. So that's basically what they're trying to promote with this mode, right? You have the same like how many years in a row have we been using blue Zenkai Namek Goku and green Zenkai Super Saiyan 3 Goku and purple Super Vegito, like all these super old LF Zenkai bench characters we use on like every single team. And so this, I guess, and also as well as the HP buffers as well, like green Mai, like the yellow Gohan, all those old characters. We always use those because HP buffing, like Red God Goku, like all those Z abilities are so stupid. But this is their way of getting us to shy away from doing that. All right, and then the final team we have to show here. I'm assuming you guys know what I'm going to show. When you think of a mode that, let's go over to the character select. When you think of a mode that wants you to use teams that have 6 good characters, and again, I think a good measure of testing out whether or not tags have a good shot at being useful in this mode is what does their 6th best character look like? Like let's open the hybrid Saiyan tag. What is the 6th best character on this hybrid Saiyan team? It's not going to be someone too good. Let's just say that. Let's open the I don't know, Ginyu Force team, right? You know, Ginyu Force got some new characters this past year in 2023. What is their 6th best character? It's like an EX, right? So that I think is the best way to judge how well a team is going to perform in here. Can you guys think of a team? Can you guys think of a tag that has really, really good characters, basically all the way until like their 15th best character? Here we go. Saiyans. I think this is probably going to be the best team. I am not 100% sure on Yellow Bardock, but I put him on here because I think he's probably good enough to use. I think he probably is good enough to use. He's not a crazy good character, and I certainly don't think I'd put him on the team over a bunch of other characters if we're strictly just looking at how well he's going to perform in the matches. But I think he just synergizes way too well with the actual team. He's giving HP to Ultra UI Goku and Goku and Bardock, and he's Zenkai buffing UI Goku. That is a lot. He's actually doing a lot for this team for not even participating. Like, you don't have to bring, like, again, even if you don't bring Zenkai Bardock into the fight, you're going to have to use him in the second fight, but you're still getting the value of him being on the bench. So that's pretty strong. Like, Zenkai, it's not like Zenkai Bardock is a bad character. He's just not one of the best characters in the game. But I think he's probably worth enough putting on the team here with his capacity as a ridiculously strong bench character that I'm willing to sacrifice putting a bit of a stronger character on the team to have him be here. But I mean, you guys know this team at this point. It's UI Goku, Goku and Bardock, Pikkon. That's like the dream combo. And then, again, you can mix and... So I think with this team, you probably always want to be using UI and Goku and Bardock with each other. Like, I don't think you ever want to split those guys up. It's way too strong. Like, that team is... That duo is just ridiculous. It's actually stupid. So I think those are 2 characters you never want to split up. And then I think the third character that you're going to be bringing with those 2 is, again, just going to depend on the opponent's team. Maybe it's going to be maybe, honestly, Yellow Bardock is probably who you're going to wanting to bring with those 2, just because you can afford to bring a bit of a less powerful third character with those 2, UI Goku and Bardock. And then you're left with Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, Pikkon, and GT Goku, which is, it's not an insane team because you don't have a very powerful offensive character with that lineup, but the team can definitely hold their own, right? Revived Gogeta can do well. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, if the opponent has a revival character, or I mean, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta by himself can do some decent damage. And then GT Kid Goku gets better, of course, as the enemy loses units, gets his ultimate more powerful, and just overall really bulky character. So that would be a really tough team to kill. Pikkon, Gogeta, and GT Goku. But I mean, to me, when I'm thinking of a mode like this that is telling you need to be using all 6 characters on your team, like, let's just open the Saiyan team. I mean, let's take a look at the Saiyan like, What is the 6th best Saiyan on here? Like these guys? Like, who's the 6th best character on here? It's a Saiyan. Like there's 30 usable Saiyans in the game. Meanwhile, there's like 3 usable LoE characters, right? So obviously, with a mode that is promoting that you use a full roster of 6 characters, the team that's gonna have access to the majority of the biggest population of good characters in the game is going to have the biggest advantage in this mode. So I think what will probably happen when we get into this mode, and I'll wrap the video up with this, we'll probably see a bunch of different teams being tested out. I would probably imagine we'll see a bunch of fusion teams. We'll see some androids. We'll see some universe reps. We'll see some people using GT, maybe a movies team here and there. Oh yeah, and by the way, something I wanted to mention also with the Saiyan team here is you could of course switch out a character for Beast Gohan, because I think a lot of people would do that. You could honestly even turn this into a Sun Family team. You could throw like Pan on here. You can throw Beast on here. I didn't want to make a whole different team for Sun Family because it's gonna end up being similar to this anyway. But Sun Family obviously is gonna be an insane team because you could still make use of the UI and Goku and Bardock combo on that as well. And then you could have Beast and you could have Pan. So that also is a very strong possibility as well. But I think again, the first few days of this mode being out, we should see a decent variety of teams. And then I think once people understand how the mode works, I think once people understand that not a lot of teams are going to be able to hold their own against Saiyans, what's going to end up happening? I think what's going to end up happening is we're probably going to see some kind of convergence on like Fusion Warriors and Saiyans. And the reason why, I think Saiyans far surpasses Fusion Warriors, but the only reason why is just because this character is like actually just way too good. Like matches where you're going to be bringing this character in a format like this, where the opponent is not running Zenkai buffers, where the opponent is not running HP buffers, like who's going to live this guy's combos? How do you survive this? So I think it'll just continue being the battle between Super 17 and then the UI Goku Bardock duo is what's going to end up happening, which honestly is the same thing that we see in normal PvP right now. It's just going to be a little bit watered down because of the lower concentration of power, because you don't have like the best bench characters. So anyway, these are the teams that I'm pretty much foreseeing as being like the biggest and best options. Let me know down below what you guys think. Are you guys excited for this Rating Match Proud system? Again, I am pretty excited for it because it is a significant change up in terms of how we experience PvP, but I do have my doubts. I have my reserves. I'm gonna not really give too many thoughts and opinions about it until we actually experience it, because it might end up being really fun, and I think it will be really fun, but I think the fun will be short-lived, especially because it's just replacing PvP. Like I don't really understand the thought process behind them like outright replacing Rating Match with this. I wish it was just a mode that was running alongside Rating Match at the same time. Not really sure why they needed to replace it for the whole season. Should just be 2 queues running at the same time in parallel with each other. You have two rankings, one for regular Rating Match, one for Rating Match Proud. People can choose what they want to do. Because right now, one other downside to this is when you're doing a best of 3, like if you're queuing into PvP and you know you're going to be heading into a best of 3, I mean, you could be sitting there for 15 minutes, 20 minutes even, depending on how long each match goes. So, I mean, like this can be an ordeal. This is a mobile game. So we'll have to wait and see. Let me know down below what you guys think of the teams that I've showed you. If you have any other ideas for teams, let me know. I'm interested in seeing what you guys are gonna create. And I'll see you guys all tomorrow.